Around 80% of the volume of international trade in goods is carried by sea, and container ships command a bulk of this trade involving the finished goods. In simpler words, most finished goods today are transported in these boxes, called as containers, which are carried on board huge ships called as container ships. Most likely, the device on which you're watching this video came to your country packed in one of these containers. One can't help but wonder, how exactly are these containers loaded on ships? Deservingly, it's one of the most popular questions I get on my Instagram, especially when I do a Q&A. Not just about the way the containers are loaded, but also about what keeps them stacked in place together without falling over, especially when the ship is sailing and encountering the various weather phenomena like sea, swell, wind, waves, and so on. You'll probably be amazed to know that modern-day container ships can even have up to 8 containers in one stack. Of course, as long as the navigational visibility rules and the forces on the ship's hull are in order. We are in Germany right now, and this is the view of the port from the ship. Did you notice the strange-looking, tall, robot-like machines? Also, what exactly are these people doing next to the hanging containers? Well, there are a lot of technicalities behind the seemingly monotonous process of container loading. So I thought it's best to go down to the pier and get you guys a better look. Mind you, this is an extremely accident-prone area, and I had to constantly look around to ensure that I wasn't standing in a danger zone. So please excuse the camera shake. So this is the container terminal with the cargo operations, that is the container loading-unloading process in progress. The tall vehicles are crane-cum-trailers, and basically they bring the containers in the right place. That is, below the tall, heavy-lift cargo crane for loading onto the ship, or they pick up the containers and move it as required on the shore side during the unloading process. These machines have actually taken over from huge 18-wheeled trucks with trailers, which formerly used to queue up on the pier and drive around carrying containers during the loading-unloading process. The person operating this sits right on top in a small glass-walled cockpit. This one was a bit too fast, and maybe you can see. Maybe in the other one you can spot the operator. The container is actually gripped and handled by this equipment called as the spreader. This one is a 40-foot container, and our ship is currently carrying around 11,000 such containers. Basically, the containers which are to be loaded are made to lay precisely at a predetermined location under the big cargo crane. Once placed there, the spreader then picks it up. The person operating the spreader, and thereby the cargo crane, sits right on top in a small operating compartment with transparent floor. Once picked up, the container is then stacked on board as per a pre-decided loading plan. Let me try to get you guys a little closer to the action with its crane on the other side. Look at this. The container has just been placed on the ground. The spreader unlocks and moves clear of the container. These, by the way, are called lashing bins, and they have different types of twist locks stored inside them. More on that will be later. Once the other container has been loaded, the spreader will move here, pick this one up, and carry it on board to be loaded at the designated slot. There comes the spreader. By the way, it's so called because it can spread or retract to handle both 20 feet and 40 feet containers. This one, which will be loaded next, is a 40-footer. The spreader has to be positioned carefully directly above the container so that all the 4 locking points engage correctly. The operator of the crane sits quite high, maybe 40 to 50 meters above the ground. And since everything is connected only by cables, it's prone to movement or swings due to wind or simply the movement momentum. Thus, the crane operators actually have a very high stress, high focus job, and that's why being a crane operator is one of the best paid jobs in the port. All the 4 attachments up means it's all locked and ready to be lifted. The crane operator lifts the container slightly clear of the ground and waits for the stevedore to install the twist locks, which he got from the lashing bin. These twist locks help to interlock one container with the next one directly above or below it in the stack. As you can guess, the port stay for the ship depends on the duration of the cargo operations, which in turn depends on how many cargo cranes are working along with how many total number of containers have to be moved. Usually one crane does around 1 container per minute. And it also depends on the experience of the crane operator and of course what kind of machinery, as in how modern the crane is. And that is more or less the sequence of operation. As you can see, in this moment we have 3 cargo cranes working on our ship. And as mentioned earlier, in total, that is including on deck and under deck, our ship is designated to carry around 11,000 containers. If you have a question about this topic or any other topic, let me know in the comments. Give this video a like and hit subscribe for more interesting content just like this. As always, thanks for watching, keep exploring. This is Rahul for RoamerRealm and I'll see you in the next one.